So I'm with Sarah Hines. Sarah, could you please tell everybody what you're involved with?
Oh, goodness. We do a lot of grief care across Canada with grief advocacy, where we've gone into long-term care and retirement homes through the pandemic to help employees and residents with their grief loss and their trauma. And now that we're kind of transitioning out of the pandemic, I get to focus on taking care of men and their grief and helping them build legacy through our legacy project.
So what are a couple of issues, and I speak this from the lens of a man, what do men deal with when it comes to grief and legacy?
Oh.
In 5 minutes or less.
In 5 minutes or less. Okay. So I think the moment you talk to a man about grief, they kind of get a little defensive. And it's not somewhere that feels like a really great starting point for conversations. It feels very vulnerable and quite emotional. So we kind of flip the lid on that a little bit, and we start with the conversation around legacy. What are we building? What are we creating? What do you want to build? What do you want to create? And we dive into what that means for connection, their emotions, and often that means grief. Men hold a lot of grief about things, not only what everyone else is holding, but also identity. We're in a time and a place where masculinity is being consistently challenged. And it's really hard to navigate through understanding who you want to be inside of that and also be able to integrate that into the world. And with men's mental health on the rise and not enough services out there, this is an area where I think that programs like the Legacy Project can actually keep men engaged. We give grief somewhere to go, so it always incorporates some sort of physicality. We do it at boxing gyms, we do it in the forest, we do it at saunas, and we make sure that it's not just about talk, that it actually is about bringing total care, mind, body, and spirit.
Could you give people watching maybe insight or an example of someone who you've helped? Obviously, confidentiality rules here, so maybe just take me through what happened with someone who came into your program or came into your world, and what was their journey through grief like, and how did they emerge?
It's funny because they often don't think they're grieving. So a lot of women ask their husbands or partners to call me, and just to see if grief is a thing. And I often don't start with grief. I start with what did you want to create in this world? And through that conversation, we start hearing the stories of loss. So who comes into the program are really people who don't think they're grieving. And how we can actually connect their legacy through their grief is really the most important part that we bring to the surface. And it's the gift that we get back from men that keeps me doing this every single day. So.
Well, it's incredible work that you're doing. I think it's pioneering work. And I guess I would leave you with this one final question, and that is, it's a question I've asked a few people here, is it's easy to preach to the choir. It's easy to talk to people who already are in this space. What would be your message to someone who's trying to convey this message to their loved ones who aren't in this world, who are really disconnected from whether it's their identity, whether it's their grief journey? How do we start to bring people in?
I think you probably heard this from everyone. It's communication and awareness, right? And I think the other thing that us specifically around practitioners get caught up in is this idea that we're the ones that are going to help them. Being able to ask really curious questions, being able to say, there's lots of help out there. It doesn't have to be me. It can be someone else. Finding support that might align with them. In my work, there's quite a few men's groups out there that would be really helpful. I also think that a lot of people don't want to talk about it, so do something else about it. Men grieve through doing. And they build sheds, they do marathons, they build companies, they build boats. And I have found that if I can walk shoulder to shoulder with someone and do something with them, we can have conversations that are a little more philosophical and perhaps not so personal. And it's from that starting point that we can tether the work to and kind of get down into the bottom of that canyon a little bit and really cultivate some of the things that need attention. So.
Well, great. Thank you so much, Sarah. Real pleasure.